You know, people have told me many times how good verbal judo is for their job. And it is. It works in police work, it works in corrections, works in business. But I got to tell you, the most powerful impact it has is with parents and children. Let me give you a little verbal judo story. True. I was sitting in a chair one time, as I am here, and my son came home with a report card. Now he was 15, 16 perhaps. He came home and he says, Dad, I got my grades today. And his hand is shaking as he hands me this piece of paper. Because I'm a pretty dogmatic, hard-nosed guy about education. And apparently I wasn't going to be looking at good news. And he hands me the report card, and he had 4 A's and an F on it. And you know what you want to do as a parent. The first words that rise naturally to your lips are, "What's this F?" But I had just come back from teaching a verbal judo class, and I thought, why don't you use what you teach? And one of the things I had taught was that the one principle of motivation that has to be there to motivate is you have to raise expectations. Never put somebody down. So I held that natural language, which we always know to be disastrous, down. And I said, as I looked at the paper, I said, wow, 4 A's. I said, Taylor, I never got 4 A's in my life, and I handed it back to him. And he looks at it for a minute, and he looks at me, and he says, but Dad, there's another grade there. And I said, oh, you mean the F? I said, I noticed that. He said, well, don't you want to know about it? I said, if you want to tell me about it. He said, well, you know, I wanted to get that F, Dad. I said, well, I figured that. I figured if you're smart enough to get 4 A's, you'd probably get an F if you wanted to. He kind of went, I said, well, why? Tell me about it. He said, well, I don't like the teacher, you know. I said, let me get this straight. You don't like the teacher, so to teach him a lesson, you took an F. I said, he probably doesn't like you either, does he? He said, no, he doesn't. I said, so he probably smiled when he put the F in the column, huh? He kind of looked at me and said, what are you getting at? I said, Taylor, the one thing about verbal judo is it's a course in power and influence with and over people. And I said, let me tell you what I would have told cops. I said, you know, if you're having trouble with somebody, you don't want to give them the advantage. Here's what I would have done, speaking of power. Had I not liked my teacher, I might have thought about getting the A in his class or B+, forcing him to put that grade in the column, knowing how much he would dislike it. I said, now that's some revenge if you want revenge. Plus it's good for you. He said, well, I hadn't thought about it that way. I said, well, why don't you think about it? And I walked away, didn't say anymore. Next marking period, he comes back with a report card and he sticks it under my nose and he says, look at that, Dad. And I looked at it and it 4 A's and a B+. B+ was in the same math class with the same teacher he had had. I said, wow, you took him out, huh? He said, yep, took him out, Dad. See, the whole point of verbal judo is you want to suppress the natural negative stuff welling up. What's this F? See, if you start that way as a parent, what about this F? The accomplishments of the A's are gone. They're meaningless. What you need to do is raise expectations. In this case, if you're good enough to get 4 A's, probably meant to get the F, didn't you? Ah, yes. And then you get to comment, talk. He doesn't feel bad, and you can even motivate him to do better the next time. Remember this, words that rise readily to the lips are disastrous, right? You need to use words to achieve a purpose. And in this case, it was to get his grades up and to motivate him to do that. Verbal judo in action.